Yo guys, and welcome to a new video. Today we are getting cultured with Akira Kurosawa's High and Low. Alright, so for this episode I will be talking to yet another Akira Kurosawa film because they are bringing them back in movie theaters in Belgium and I can watch 4 of those movies from him in a movie theater on the big screen. If you want to know something about what is coming next to the series, they will be bringing back Jaws in Belgium as well for its 50th anniversary, and next month in September we are also getting Gone with the Wind in the movie theater. I have seen that one, but I will try to watch it in the movie theater, and then I will also give you a full in-depth review on that movie as well. With that being said, let's get straight into this one for High and Low, and let's of course start again with the cultural impacts that this movie had on the movie industry. There are 3 things that I think you can basically describe a Kurosawa movie with, and especially this movie as a crime thriller. It has 3 things that are just genuinely really great that will always be mirrored in other movies. Those things are procedural detail, moral ambiguity, and maybe more known, visual storytelling. The way that Akira Kurosawa manages to tell the audience the story through the eyes of these detectives by just dropping some small little details in those phone calls and stuff like that to make you understand what these detectives are going through, what the police force and what Gondo is going through, in the way that he has to explain everything and that he has to try to figure it all out together with the audience, is something that has been talked about for ages and how great it actually is. And in some way he really and absolutely pioneered the modern crime thriller this way. And the way he uses these 3 things is actually quite famously mirrored in movies like Zodiac or Seven. Innovative cinematography and blocking has been quite important for a lot of movies for a long time, and actually High and Low is one of the movies that pioneered in this and is actually studied in film schools because it's so incredibly great how Kurosawa does it. If you take a look at the first half of the movie, for example, like the scenes all in the apartments, it's really genius how you can see the characters move around to get the blocking right, to get the camera right, to make everything feel natural, to make everything feel nice, and to build up tension as you go along. There is a scene wherever the police has to go down because the killer or the kidnapper can actually look inside of the room, and it's actually really incredibly tense. It's not a lot going on. It's a man talking on the phone, but you can feel the tension just because of the way it's shot and the way it's blocked. This movie also is a class commentary on genre cinema, as it inspired on a lot of ways. It's not just a crime thriller, but it also really told you everything you needed to know about Japan in that time period and how that class divisions worked and how that most of that is more important than anything that happens in this movie. In the crime aspect, it's all what lies beyond the crime that makes this movie so incredibly great, but also so incredibly real. And that's something that's trying to be mirrored a lot by directors as well. And I think it's most famously now mirrored in Parasite from Bong Joon-ho from 2019, which also does it with some horror aspects, comedy aspects, but mostly class division. But I also brought some fun facts for you to enjoy. High and Low is loosely based on an American novel, namely King's Ransom by Ed McBain. In Japanese, the title doesn't necessarily mean high and low, but it means heaven and hell. This way, it's referencing both the penthouse, but also the slums where the drug addicts were at the end of the movie. High and Low is so incredibly good that it stands at this point on number 6 of the Letterboxd Top 250 movies, as in it's the 6th best movie on Letterboxd. And on the IMDb Top 250, it's on place 81. And maybe the most fun fact, there is a remake being made by Spike Lee with Denzel Washington playing the role of Gondo. It's actually going to be placed in New York City and is not going to be a shoe tailor. He's going to be a musician or a guy who sells music a guy who sells instruments. It's directed by Spike Lee, and it comes out on Apple TV Plus on September 5th, and it has a limited theatrical release on August 15th of this year, and it's called Highest to Lowest. And in the end, of course, what did I personally think of this movie? I thought it was awesome. For me, it's actually the first movie of Akira Kurosawa that I see, because I thought Seven Samurai and Yojimbo were a little more known. That's why I reviewed them first in the series. But this one is the first one I actually saw from this director, so I think it was absolutely genius. I have always had a soft spot for crime thrillers, so when I recognized this one as being a crime thriller, I haven't read any taglines or synopsises about these films, so I don't really know what they are about before I go in and watch them. And it's really, really well made. It's absolutely incredible what they managed to do with the time period and with the scenes and with just the timing where this was filmed. Like, it's a movie from 1963, and everything in the apartment, which is around the first hour of the movie, actually is incredibly tense. I was watching the screen without breathing. Like, everything happened in such a genius way. It was absolutely incredible. And I actually kind of disliked it when we went away from that, when we went to the other sequences, away from the apartment, because I thought that this was going to be solely set in that apartment and then we're going to figure out everything along the way, and it wasn't that, and I was a little bummed out by that. But then when we got to the train sequence, the apartment sequence got bested by the train sequence. The train, I have no idea how they managed to make it that incredibly tense, how they managed to make it that incredibly good. The direction is awesome, the blocking, the cinematography, everything around it is awesome. Like when they, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, but when they have the entire thing with the bridge where you can see the kid and then just have to dump the bags down, it's so incredibly well made and I absolutely love it. There is a downside to this movie I have though, and I feel like even though the entire investigation that follows in the next hour is really interesting and really great as well and has some great plot twists in that family, I still do have the feeling that I genuinely thought that adding the drugs in the end of the movie and adding that entire plotline with the entire catching of the thief or catching of the kidnapper was the weakest point of the movie. It's still incredibly great. It's still a solid 9 to 9.5 out of 10 for me, but I felt like that didn't really fit the tone of the rest of the movie. I thought it was a bit cheap to go to the drugs route, but I have to say that's coming from someone who is watching movies nowadays, and nowadays whenever there's crime, there's always going to be drugs in it, and that's really boring, so I have to see it from the time period, which is why it's still great. I just think it wasn't really necessary for the story they were trying to tell in this one, and that's why I think that having the drugs kind of bumped a little bit of the movie down for me, even though that ending with them trying to catch the kidnapper and them may or may not succeeding to do it is actually awesome as hell. I'm still going to give this one 9.5 out of 10. I thought it was incredible. I thought this movie was genius. I thought it was perfect in some capacity. Alright, what did you think of High and Low? Have you seen this one? Please let me know in the comments down below because I'm really excited to hear your opinion on it. I want to thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and bye bye.